All right, well, good morning, good afternoon, whatever time it is. Does anybody know what time it is? Does anybody really care? All right, that's a lyric from an old song. Anyway, I digress. All right, we're in this chapter 2, linear relations and functions, and specifically we're in chapter section 2-1, which is relations and functions. And in this chapter section, we are taking a look at, familiarizing ourselves, hopefully reviewing things such as one-to-one or on-to functions, domain and range, whether a relation is discrete or continuous, in the vertical line test to determine whether a relation is a function. This is from a graph. Independent variables, dependent variables, and function notations. And so if you don't know what any of those mean, well, guess what? It'd be a good idea to figure it out, because we'll be talking about each of these things quite a bit, some more than others. Domain and range, a lot. Independent and dependent variable, quite a bit. A lot of times we may not actually identify that's what it is, but that's what we're doing. Function notation, a lot. And even this vertical line test occasionally too. So now specifically this, what I have here on this slide comes from page 63. This is example 2, real world example 2, which is at the top of the page. And let's read what we have here. It says the number of employees a company had each year from 2004 to 2009 were 24, 35, 31, 27, and 29. Graph this information and determine whether the relation is discrete or continuous. And does this graph represent a function? Now, the reason why I chose this particular example 2 here is because I wanted to, I'm going to do this in an Excel spreadsheet, which is going to come up on the next slide, to demonstrate to you how we can use an Excel spreadsheet, in case you may or may not already know. So we're going to jump on over and pull up this Excel spreadsheet and graph this information of the number of employees a company had each year from 2004 to 2009, and we're given the number of those employees. Okay, so I've opened up Excel, and this is what is called a workbook here in Excel. And we're going to use it to complete the instructions that we're given here in example 2. So where we're told that we've got a number of years that this company is tracking its number of employees, and we're to graph that information. And so I'm going to go in here to this cell right here, cell A1, and I'm going to give it a label, and I'm going to say it's year. And then I'm going to tab over to B, and I'm going to say that this is the number of employees. Okay, so we got our labels done, and now I'm going to start entering my data. And first I'm just going to put my years in. So I've got 2004, and I'm just going to actually hit my down arrow to navigate here. There's several different ways. I could click on the cell. If I hit tab, it's going to go over to B2. So there's 2004, 2005, hit the down arrow, 2006, hit the down arrow, 2007, down arrow, 2008, and 2009. All right, so I've got my years in here. Now I'm going to put my number of employees that I was given in the problem. So we got 25. Again, I'm going to hit the down arrow. 28, I believe it is. Yep, 28, 34, 31, 27, and 29. So I'm going to double check my data. That all looks good. And so now I'm going to get ready to draw a chart. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click in this A1, and I'm going to hold my mouse down, and I'm going to highlight all of the data that I entered. Then I'm going to go over here to this tab across the top that says Insert, and I'm going to charts, and I can see right in here I've got a lot of different charts. Now, I'm just graphing data. And in fact, this is actually to answer one of the questions that it asks us, is this relation discrete or continuous? It's going to be discrete because all we've got is data points. And I'm going to choose this option right here where it says insert scatter plot, X and Y, which, by the way, my number of years, my year represents my X variables or my independent variables, and my number of employees represents my Y coordinate or my dependent variables. So I'm going to click on this box right here, and I'm going to choose this first one here, scatter plot. I'm going to click on it, and shazam, it pops in a table for me, or a graph for me. And I can see here down here at the bottom, I've got the number of years on the left-hand side, or what would be the y-axis. This bottom would be my x-axis. My left-hand side is demonstrating for me my y-axis, and there's my various data points. And in fact, if I hover right there, you can see maybe where it says 0.205. This is x value is 205. Number of employees is 28. And so on and so forth. Now, the last thing does this graph represent a function? Well, I can apply the vertical line test. And if I start drawing vertical lines through here, well, it may not let me do it. It's not going to let me do it here. But I can visually see that I don't have any X values, number of years in other words, that represents more than one Y value. And I'll just do a little vertical line test here with the mouse. Hopefully you can see it as I'm going up and down. So this is passing the vertical line test, and we can say that this relation is in fact a function. Okay, so there's just a quick down and dirty using Excel and its chart features.